Hello to all our viewers and subscribers, whether you're listening on YouTube or on IGTV or other listening platforms. Thank you for joining us today. And today joining us is Mr. Frank Corbin. Welcome, Mr. Frank Corbin, to our show. And today's topic is, who are you talking to about money? Grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea. We're about to dive in and we're about to name the elephant. So welcome, Frank, to our show. We're happy to have you here. Thank you for taking the time to join us today to talk
Thank
about
you.
this
Thank you, Tilly.
taboo
Yeah.
topic of money.
Yes, the most amazing topic ever when it's working in your favor, and then when it's not working, is everyone's trying to avoid it as much as possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll start off by having you
Yeah.
introduce yourself. What do you do? What's your background?
I'm a real estate mentor. Started off doing seminars and workshops, educating people on real estate and wealth building, preferably generational wealth. And I then transfer later on into open up my own real estate brokerage. And so just continue the same process of helping people creating generational wealth. Came to Canada at 18 years old from New York City. And I saw a wealth full of opportunity here. And I'm thinking, I'm going to be very, very rich in this country. It was so easy. And the reason why I thought so, I saw a lot of opportunity and a lot of lazy people.
Okay, wow. So are you rich? Are you wealthy?
Oh, I'm very rich. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's great. I think a lot of our
From
viewers are
day
going to want to
one,
know that.
absolutely. From day one, you talk about begin with the end in mind. I saw a lot of opportunities in Canada, and not too many people were taking advantage of the opportunity. People were taking advantage of the excuses.
Okay.
And so I start my process up and down, and finally hit the winning number. When you hit it with real estate, it just went to a whole new level of success.
Wow. Okay. So real estate is a big part of this generational wealth. So do you think people are taking more advantage of those opportunities now compared to when you got here first at 18?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because now you have more awareness of the real estate industry. People more educated. People have more resources now than before.
Right.
And so I see more and more people creating wealth through real estate, with me and also without me. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, it's there.
Okay, great. So now you are located in which city? Where in Canada are you?
Well, I'm in Beaumont, Ontario. That's where I'm promoting now. I go from city to city promoting, depends on where the opportunities at. I'm in Beaumont right now. After maxing out Toronto, Mississauga, and I think I spent a little time in Ingersoll. So I'm in Beaumont now because there's a lot of opportunities available here. So that's where I'm right now promoting.
What are some of the questions that come up around family members and friends about money? What are some of the concerns do you find in our community, especially in our Black communities?
Well, the two questions is, the first one is credit.
Okay.
Credit's like the biggest question, like getting the credit in check, get the credit right. And the second thing is retirement. A lot of folks are concerned if they're able to afford their retirement income.
And in your experience, do you find that people are actually knowledgeable about these two topics? For one, are they actually knowledgeable about how to build credit or what credit even means? And do they even know how to plan for retirement?
No. For the most part, most people are uneducated when it comes to the credit system. And it's one of the easiest system ever. What you put in is what you get back out. There's no magical trick to it.
Okay.
So if you put good stuff in, good stuff comes out. Okay. But when you see your credit score, don't look happy because you didn't put happy things inside of the formula. Right? There's two forms of credit. There's credit where you need to have a good credit score to get approved for a loan or a mortgage or a car loan, whatever it is. And there is credit leverage, where most people really have no clue, where you actually take advantage of the bank's money and get literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of the bank's money and do major things with. Most people still in the basic trying to get their credit stabilized by keeping a good credit score. And once you have a good credit score, now you can leverage that, because everybody wants to do business with a person who have 680 credit score and above. Right. Now you can say, okay, let me go get $50,000 line of credit or a $45,000 credit card, and I can use that money to do a business or some form of investment and these kind of things. Most people don't do the investment side as much as they should.
Okay, interesting. So this leads me to my next question, which is the question of the show. Who do you think people are talking to about money and credit and investment?
Well, we have something called community university.
Okay.
Okay. And
never heard of that one.
The community university works this way. I get some information Whether it's true or lie, I tell it to you, you buy into it. Whether it's true or lie, you tell it to someone else, someone else, someone else. And then also our community leaders, whether it's the pastors or anyone who have community gathering. Okay. People tend to listen to those individuals or their friends for knowledge, for financial knowledge.
Okay.
Which is normally wrong.
Okay. So that information then becomes fact because they heard somebody say it and somebody else said it and somebody else said it. And it's coming from a long line of somebody else said.
That's right. Most time it's not true.
Okay. Who should people be talking to about money?
Well, depends on what you're trying to achieve. You're always going to want to seek professional advice. If you're trying to achieve a stock or a mutual fund or retirement portfolio, you want to seek a financial advisor who've been around for years, who have good experience, who have great success with his or her clients. If you want to create a real estate portfolio, you want to seek a real estate mentor or real estate educator who understand the real estate investment and have success doing that. You don't take your dog to the family doctor. You take your dog to the vet.
Where are you from originally? From New York or are you from the island?
I'm African with a Caribbean culture.
Okay.
So
all right.
I'm Black without borders. I don't represent any country or flag. I'm African with Caribbean culture.
Okay, we appreciate that. Tell us about your community of friends and a family. Growing up, was money ever discussed?
No, money was never. Money was discussed in a poverty way. You hear the affordability. You can't afford. Don't do this. Don't use this. Don't use that. Don't all the negative when it comes to money. That's the money conversation I grew up hearing in my household. Yeah, no, nothing towards wealth or success or investment or nothing to do with financial advancement. There's always a financial negative experience having in the household or among friends as well.
All right. Now, do you feel that the systems that we have in different parts of the world are different in North America? And do you feel that it's something that creates a barrier for a lot of people in our Black communities? No,
I totally don't see that. I think we have an amazing wealth building platform in North America. We have a very highest education and financial education system. We have the highest health education system, you name it. We in North America, we are first world. So every platform of human development, we are first doing it here. And finances is no different. Okay. Right. If we cannot see or achieve financial success, it's because of our own laziness of not going to get the information. But it's out there.
Do you sense that there is a gap where people are not understanding that they need to seek this information out from specialized persons such as financial planners? We have mortgage brokers. Do you find that people are not knowing that this is something specialized, that maybe they need a little bit more than mom and dad's advice on how to build wealth?
The ones that looking for great results in their life, they go and seek the information and get the results. But then we got to also keep in mind that wealth building is not for the masses. It's for a unique few. There's always going to be only a few rich men and women in the world.
Why do you think that is?
Because it requires a solid and strong discipline and work. So only a few people willing to do the work and embrace the discipline to create wealth. No matter how much information we put out there, how much education information we put out there, how much opportunity we put out there, it's only going to be a selective few going to take advantage of it, who really, really wants it bad. And that's never going to change with my time or your time.
Well, don't you find with awareness, though, that can bring change, such as these conversations that we're having now about money? I mean, this is a topic that does not come up in people's homes, mine included, right? We talked about bills and paying them, but we never talked about building generational wealth. We didn't talk about investing for long-term and investing for retirement. We don't talk about those things. And being from the Caribbean, we're coming from a culture where eventually you're going to take care of your parents. Your parents are not expected to plan for their retirement. So don't you think that with more awareness that people can make better choices?
No, and that's because awareness brings acknowledgement of the information. You still need to go and do the work, which most people are lazy to do.
Right. You think it's laziness?
Mm-hmm. For instance, if you're home right now and you're hungry, what are you going to do? You can get up, go to the grocery store or go to a restaurant and get some food. Okay. Because you know it's out there. So most people know the information for better life, financial is out there. They just don't want to go and do it. So you can sit in your house and starve, or you go outside and get the food. It's there. Some people sit in the house and starve because they're lazy.
So let's define laziness. What do you define as laziness?
Desiring something, but don't want to go get it.
Okay, that's fair.
Keep in mind, there's some people who have no financial interest, and that's okay. But the ones who want it, but don't want to go get it, that's laziness.
Right. And so when you
Yeah.
say go get it, what does that mean for you, Frank? What does go get it mean? So someone's sitting here and thinking, oh man, I
Well,
want to go get it. I'm not one of those lazy people. I want to go get it. What does that mean?
go seek the information, seek the professional, and then once you get the information, apply what you've been told. What the research gives you, you apply it. And even apply doesn't mean you become successful just applying it. You can have some ups and downs, some bruises and bumps. When you go through those bruises and bumps, you got to be consistently to override it over time. You can't quit. You just keep going. And in the end of the day, you come out on top. No matter how non-smart you might think you may be, if you keep banging away at something, you're going to see success at the end of the day. It happens.
To our Black communities. And I sense that there is a lack of education about finances, especially people who are coming in from third world countries and the Caribbean, different parts of the world that are not so advanced as the North American system. I've sensed that there's a gap in the education system, in the financial education system, where people are not understanding that there is a whole system and it's a very niche system that you do require professional assistance with. Right. We're taught, as Caribbeans to save money towards building a house. We're from the Caribbean where you can buy a block, build a house by building a block at a time. Well, in North America, most people get mortgages unless you're extremely rich. Right. And even the rich get mortgages.
Well, here's the thing. The information is out there. Who we listen to is what separates us from the information. We are listening to mostly community leaders who are not financial educators. Okay. And that's the problem. It's not that the system is against us or the information is not there for us. Who we choose to listen to. People listen to the friends and family member and pass us for financial advice, people who broke or even worse than them financially. So it's there. You got to go get it. You got to get out of your circle of influence and get your information. If you want to be rich, listen to somebody who have financial success. It's just common sense.
So do you think that we need to be intentional then about seeking this advice? We need to be intentional about looking for professionals to give us this kind of advice. What about the banks? How do you feel, that comes into play? Are they a good source to look for assistance?
No, it's a good start, but they're very limited without the amount of information that they have for the public. Now, here's the problem. Most banks rep or financial advisors in the bank, they only stay in their position maybe 2 or 3 years and they move on to something else. So they're not very thoroughly knowledgeable of even the bank products to offer you as a client who walked through the door. They're not there long enough. When I started off investing, my banker was in the bank for over 25 years before I got there. So she was very, very knowledgeable of all the banking products. You go into the bank today, I got to educate them on the stuff I want from them.
Okay, I see. So do you find perhaps it's not the banks we go to? Who do you go to for financial advice?
Well, now I do my own financial advising for myself. I do a lot of research. Like, for instance, if I want to apply to the bank for a line of credit or credit card, I got to go on the bank website and I got to read through all the fine print to understand what I'm applying for to make sure that product can fit what I want to do with it. Okay. When I want to do investment, I do my research in the market, whether it's stocks or mutual funds or real estate. I do a lot of research. Most people could do their own research today because the information is available publicly.
Okay. So what do you think are some of the fears, the concerns and challenges that we face in the Black community with regards to building wealth?
I think most people fear is failure. They fear failing, okay, which is very common among humans. I think for our community, I think our priorities are not straight. We put a lot of love and attention to all the things that don't benefit us. I think that's a major problem with us. We have lots of money in our community. We spend lots of money in our community. What we spend it on is a different conversation.
Okay. So let's touch on those things a little bit. When you say our priorities are in the wrong place, what do you see around you, family and friends? What do you think their priorities are?
The priorities are party, fashion, entertainment, anything that creates a happy emotion. That's the priority. And not everyone, I'm saying this, I'm to be doing a general assumption here. But when it comes to financial planning, all the things that create generational wealth, investing, that has to go to the sideline for the most part.
Why do you think that is?
We're just a happy bunch of people.
And we like to be happy all the time.
We're just happy. You're so happy bunch of people. Exactly. You want to be happy all the time. And unfortunately, money doesn't like happiness. Money needs discipline. And discipline takes away some smile off your face. Because you
Interesting.
you gotta walk into the mall, see that red bottom shoes and pass it today. You gotta pass it today. You can't pick it up, even if it's on half price. And money doesn't like that happy, smiley face all the time.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
You gotta see your friends going on vacation. See your friends going on vacation and miss that trip. Because the money you can spend $5,000-$10,000 on vacation, you have to go towards your son's university education. So either you look at his future or you look at the happy time with your friends. And remember, everyone is going. You got to be the one that says, I'm not going. I got to put my money towards something that's more priority for my kids' future. You don't become rich overnight. It's a lot of discipline I had to implement. There's a lot of birthday parties I missed, a lot of weddings I missed. I've never been on a vacation yet. A lot of things I've missed. But I missed all those things to make sure my kids don't have to pay for university education. They have enough money to have the first down payment in their house. They have enough money to get them married. Okay. That was my priority over all the happy moments and the smiley things.
Why do you think it's hard to say no to some things? Why is it hard to reprioritize? Why do you think that's hard for us?
We just a happy, emotional group of people. It's just in our nature. It's just in our nature. You know, I mean, even sometimes if you follow the history of the community, sometimes the kids go to school and the teacher gives them a hard time because all the kids want to do is jump and play all day long. They're just happy. They don't want to sit down and do the work like everyone else. They're just a happy bunch of people. And some of the kids need special attention to stabilize them.
Okay. So what about needing validation? What about the need to look rich?
Well, you have those too, right? You have lots of people who buy all these fancy bags and purse and cars and all this kind of stuff because they want to feel like they're part of the grand scheme of success. Unfortunately, you know, it is just looks, because the bottom line is when you walk into the bank, there's no money in the bank account, or the credit is bad, or whatever situation might be going on the back end. Okay, you know you're doing well and you know you're rich when your banker tell you you're going to be rich. Your banker see all your numbers. All I'm going to see is your car, your clothing, and your house. And if you do a good job presenting that, we all going to think you're rich and successful. The bankers see the bottom line. They see the numbers, the true numbers. So that's what I pay attention to.
So being wealthy, I imagine that you have met different people who are wealthy, like yourselves, and also those who are not wealthy. Do you find that there's a different sense of peace of mind with the wealthy folks versus the folks who are not making wealth, generational wealth, a priority? Do you find there's a difference in the peace of mind there?
Absolutely. The peace of mind is different. The conversation is different. Look, imagine I'm giving roughly, imagine making $100,000 a year and then you're putting $80,000 back into investment versus making $100,000 a year and spending $95,000 paying off bills. It's two different conversations.
Absolutely.
One is more futuristic and positive. One is more, oh my God, I can't quit this job. I gotta get more money. It's one is a complaint company and whine all the time, and one is more of a positive conversation. And my friends who have money call me. They ask me, say, Frank, where's the new money coming from? Where are we gonna invest next? That's the kind of conversation I have with people who have money. Whereas the other ones, they're trying to barely bring costs down to pay their bills.
Okay. So what were some of the things that you did in your early 20s with regards to building wealth?
The first thing I did is establish highly effective credit. That was a major part of my financial growth.
Let's pause there because you actually wrote a book on this, correct? It's called 8 Strategies.
The highly effective credit.
Okay. And where can we find the book?
You can contact me on WhatsApp, 647-237-3642. Connect with me on WhatsApp. This is actually a kit, the actual book, and then there's an audio package here. It teaches you how to repair and rebuild your credit, and more important, leverage the credit system, get access to the bank's money. Anything over for $100,000 to $200,000 unsecured credit from the banks. Okay, this is the strategy I've used to create wealth, to get access to the bank's money, to be able to buy real estate. This is what I've started off with, and it still works today.
So if we start with that, we're going to eventually get wealthy like you, Frank. Is that what you're saying?
Well, what it does, it gets you access to proper credit and access to your first seed capital. Okay. And then you can take some of that money and start investing into real estate. That's what I've done. Invest into real estate. So this is just a tool or the vehicle to get you started. This is not going to get you rich. The real estate is what's going to get you rich.
Okay. Do you hear that, guys? Real estate
This makes people like you. This makes people want to talk to you because your credit is good. This people make, you have credit, you have a credit card, $50,000, $60,000 credit card. This makes you can walk into the builder center and write a check and buy something they're selling. This makes you people friendly.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome. I like that. So let's go back to what you did in your early 20s. Let's hear about that journey.
I went into the bank and I tell them I want to start businesses. I want to invest in real estate. And my banker, Sonia, give me a credit card for $500. Within 6 months, that $500 credit card from CIBC, that $500 credit card turned into a $5,000 credit card. We increase the limit every 2-3 months. From that 5,000 credit card, I switched it to a gold card, which I still have today. Now, here's a trick to the gold card. The gold card allows you to increase the limits in big jumps. Also, the gold card had an annual fee. So I can increase now from 5,000 to 15,000 and 15,000 to 20,000 and 35,000. So within a year or so, I have over $50,000 in unsecured credit from the banks. And then the other strategy inside the book. I take those money now in the credit card and I start going to the auction and I start buying cars, fix them up and sell them back. The car industry had money then. And we did tons of that. From that point on, I bought a truck, a big moving truck called Thinkers Movers. You think I can move it? I move people right across the GTA. So I'm just dibbling and dabbling in all kinds of different businesses because I had the bank's money. It wasn't my money. No, it would have taken me a very, very long time to work and save those money to be able to leverage and do different businesses. But because of highly effective credit, I was able to do anything I wanted to do. So I from day one, I was a superstar in business because I had other people's money I was spending. Okay. And my job now is to manage the money very well. Because it's okay to write a check or to swipe that credit card. We have to manage that money. We get revenue back to pay back the credit card. So I start managing my own money very, very well from day one. Wow. And until I stumble onto real estate, then my life just changed ridiculously.
Tell us, what was the driving force at such a young age that led you onto this path of financial discovery and financial freedom? You know, what made you, what nugget, what book, what advice did you listen to? What led you down this path?
Well, I think for the most part, it's just looking around my environment and see most people were poor, they were broke, they always borrowing money from each other. Then they fight with the person who's never paid them back. Affordability of going back to school, clothing was a problem. There's always some problem with money. And I think I was too proud as a young man to grow up myself into that system and then transfer that same experience to my children. So once I understand what was the problem, and the problem was not lack of money. Money is always in the community. The problem was laziness, doing the work to actually create the finances. So once I start working and I start doing business, the money came very, very easy. Okay. And once I start the journey and I see the platform start building, then I start teaching people to do the same thing too. And it was just doing it, just getting up and doing it. And doesn't mean because you get up and do it, you can be successful overnight. You're gonna have challenging times. You gotta decide that don't quit, just keep going. And the ones who kept going, they're superstars today. The ones who didn't, then they go back in the same situation.
So consistency is key here.
Yes. Gotta commit to it and just keep going. Don't stop until you get what you want out of it. Yeah, surround yourself with positive-minded people, okay? I have a zero tolerance for negative people. If you're negative about something, you got 2 seconds in my world. 1, you're in, 0, you're out. More out than in.
Wow.
Very difficult for most people. It's easy said than done. You got to eliminate that person out of your mind space, which is your head. You got to get rid of them. Very, very difficult to do.
What kind of harm do they create for you? What kind of negative experiences?
It's not the experience, it's the influence. They negatively influence your mind. And then you tend to be more lazy and relaxed and not doing anything like them. You know, I don't care how smart you are and how educated you are and how a hard worker and go-getter you are. If I'm your lazy husband, you're not doing anything to max out yourself. You're like, honey, let's go here. Like, nah, we're not doing that. I'm tired. I'm this. I'm that. You're not going anywhere. So all of a sudden, my energy start wear you down over the years, wear you down. So your max or your peak you want to reach, you're never going to get there in life with a lazy person next to you. That can be friends, family members, it can be mother and father, it can be a spouse, it can be anybody. And you got to be strong enough to understand that this is where I'm going. And anyone who's not a fan base of where I'm going needs to be eliminated. They get cut.
Maybe I should pose this and say this. So I find that who you hang around with, the circles, can also influence how you spend your money. So not only will they keep you back from running after your money, they will influence how you keep it and how you spend it.
Yes, yes. Of course, they influence everything you do. Can you imagine how tough it was for me starting off building wealth? I bought my first house, I'm driving a Toyota Tercel. I bought my second house, I'm driving a Dodge Caravan. My broke friends who live in an apartment were driving Mercedes-Benz, BMW. I look broke and they look rich.
But you had the better peace of mind.
That's right. That's right. At the end of the month, all my bills was paid. No credit card bills, no credit card debt. Loans are being paid off. Student loans paid off in 6 months. I had a very peace of mind experience in my financial life that they still having problems today. Some of those guys.
Wow. Wow. So
yeah.
Are you still driving a Tercel? Still driving a Dodge?
No, I ain't drive. I drive a Toyota. I drive Toyotas now.
Okay. Oh, so you're still not getting too flashy.
Listen, wealth building is not about you. Wealth building is for the next generation. If you have to put the work in and you taking the sacrifice, you're not going to get the reward fully. If I take the reward, it eliminates how much my kids and kids' kids can benefit.
You got to say that again. You said wealth building is not for you. Say that again, because I think that's so important.
It's not for you. Wealth building is not for you. It's for the next generation. If you take the reward now, what's going to be invested for the kids and the kids' kids' kids? If you make $1 million a year and you spend $990,000 because you want to have a flashy lifestyle, where is the wealth being built?
That's a tough question.
So people would come and see me and they're like, Frank, this is your car. Frank, this is your house. Yes, that is my car. That is my house. I make way more money than most people and I live in a lot less than most of them because it's not about Frank Corbin looking like a superstar. The most expensive thing I have is a suit, which is not very expensive.
Wow. So this is a sacrifice again of denying yourself the luxuries of a certain type of lifestyle and the luxuries of being recognized as a big shot or a guy that has money. That's a huge sacrifice.
There are going to be times when you have so much and over, you can go and do whatever you want. But for me, until the kids are on a platform and their life is going well and I'm happy with their progress, I'm going to stay humble for now.
I hear you.
All the hard work I've done, I'm going to throw it away to Mercedes-Benz and BMW. Come on.
Wow.
I didn't make my money from overnight success. I work hard and I build to make my money. So I want my money to work and do great things for me as well.
Absolutely. I got some questions here from my audience who sent in some questions in advance of the show. So I have them prepped for you. So I'm just going to throw out a few. This one is geared towards credit. It says, is it true that after 7 years of not answering creditors' calls or speaking to a creditor, the money that you still owe and should be paying will no longer be owed to that creditor? Is that true?
Yes and no. So
okay.
I think what it is that they're asking two questions in one. So here what how it normally happens. In some province, 6 years, in some province, 7 years. After 6 or 7 years of not responding to the creditor, that debt falls off of your credit report. But the creditor who you owe the money still have that in their database that you owe this money. So the debt is not eliminated. It's just not on your credit report. So for instance, if you owe one of the banks, top 5 banks, $5,000, never respond to them. 5, 6 years gone by, it falls off your credit report. 6, 7 years, it falls off your credit report. When you go into that bank, even though it's not your credit report, and apply for a credit line, they're going to decline you. Why? In their system, it shows you still owe that $5,000 plus interest over the last 7, 8 years.
Wow. You know what? Thank you for clearing that up because that is a huge misconception that most people have. That's a huge one. If you fall into hard times and you've only paid or been paying the interest but you've paid so much interest that it hasn't even touched the principal. Is there anything you can do or say to a creditor for them to readjust your file and apply a portion of the money you've already paid to the interest to the actual principal?
No. A contract is a contract. Banks, financial institutions operate by contract. That's why you have you sign something. And if you sign up for an interest-only credit line or credit card, that's all that contract states. Anything above that, you got to go and renegotiate new terms. And what you paid in the past is interest. It cannot apply to the principal in the future. I can probably say no banks will do that. You have to go renegotiate new terms with the same debt that you owe.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
So what's the best way to budget and not spend unnecessarily when you have a spending habit and you're a shopaholic?
There's so many apps out there you can use to monitor your spending. That's one. The other thing, I use a credit card. My credit card has a budgeting platform on the back end. So it tells me every month how much money I spend, what I spend it on. I use credit card for almost everything. Okay, so I get to monitor what I'm spending money on. I can categorize it. The good thing about it as well, at the end of the year, I can print off my credit card statement and email it to my accountant, and that's my expenses for the year. So it helps me organize myself financially as well.
What do you have to say about people who say they claim the shopaholic title? Is that a real thing for you?
It is real, but this is what I said. Like budgeting is a very bad experience for a lot of people. Okay, if you like shopping, I would not tell you start budgeting. You're gonna be a very miserable person. If you like shopping, I would say work harder, make more money. That's the only thing I would tell you. You like shopping, like buying nice things, work harder. That's all.
That's interesting.
That's the best way to overcome that negative experience is to work harder. That's all.
That's good. I think that the shopaholics would love to know that there's a way out, Frank. They can still enjoy the things that they like.
If you take a shopaholic and tell them budgeting, the budget means no one you gotta start cutting back and stuff. Less shoes, less purse, less suits, less everything, less car. You'll be a very miserable person if you have to go through that. Some people need nice things to feel whole, and no one should cheat them out of that experience. They need nice things to feel good about themselves. So if wearing a $2,000 suit make you feel like $1 million, you should go out and buy that. You just got to work to get that $2,000 to get that $1 million experience. That's all. Okay. Some people need 3-4 vacations a year. They have to have that experience.
So you just got to facilitate the lifestyle.
Yes. Just got to work harder. That's all. Like nice things, work harder. That's easy.
Okay. We like that. We like that one, Frank. So if you've never invested in the stock market before, what's the best way to start going about it now? And I know we've only touched on real estate before as a wealth building topic. How do you feel about the stock market? Let's start there.
First of all, most people never get rich investing in stocks. Okay, it's very difficult to become rich investing in stocks. Very, very difficult. Okay, and if you do decide you want to invest in the stock market, I would say buy ETFs. It's cheaper to manage and it's a lot easier. You have a less chance of losing money investing in ETF.
What are ETFs?
It's called electronic traded funds. It's almost like a mutual fund that trade on the stock market. Okay, and with a very low management fee compared to what mutual funds used to be back in the days. And you can do it yourself. Just read up. You can see all. Like for instance, if you want to buy the Canadian banks, there's an ETF that have all the Canadian banks inside. So rather than buying CIBC or TD individually, you buy the mutual fund. You buy the ETF that has all of them. Insurance companies, banks, everything inside of it. That whole sector. You want to buy pharmaceutical, you buy a pharmaceutical ETF that have Pfizer, Merck, and all of them in the same ETF. So you buy the whole industry. You want to buy oil, the same thing. Gold, silver, the same thing. The ETF is what the safest way to do if you want to invest in the stock market.
And what's your opinion on Bitcoin investments?
Run. I don't have a value system for Bitcoin as yet. Can that change in the future? Maybe. I doubt it though. I cannot see a value system in it. I would tell anybody to run. Put your money in something that makes more sense.
Why is that?
That's my opinion.
Why is that?
The world depends on the dollar as a currency to trade. And when that dollar stops circulating, it's going to move into a credit card form, which we still represent in the dollar. We do that for years now, credit cards, the same dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt that's going to change to Bitcoin. Not in my lifetime.
So it's still too new.
So I don't have a value. I don't have a value. Sorry?
So it's still too new.
I think it's always going to be too new for me.
Okay, we appreciate that. From this conversation, first of all, thank you for sitting with us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your wealth and your experience with us on the show. And thank you for naming the elephant. We talked about the barriers that we are facing as a Black community to gaining wealth. We talked about some of the ways to gain wealth. And we talked about some of the challenges and things that we need to think about. So we appreciate this conversation so much. Is there anything that you would like to leave to this community? Anything you would like to share?
You can never go wrong when you invest with the next generation at heart. I have so much wealth today because every time I go to spend $1, I think of my children and it guides me in the right direction every single time. Every time I go to spend $1, how will my kids benefit from this? And 9 out of 10 times, the answer is they wouldn't. That dollar won't get spent. Every time I go to do something, I see a nice coat, $8.99. I don't need the coat, but it's a nice coat. How my kids benefit from this? I bought one for $1.99 instead, and take the extra money, invest for the kids' future.
Profound.
So if you have the next generation at heart, you can never go wrong. It guides you perfectly.
Very profound, Frank. Thank you so much for sharing that, and we appreciate you once again. Thank you for joining us on Name the Elephant, where we get comfortable having the uncomfortable conversations, naming the elephant in the room so we can all unburden ourselves. And I think today was a really, really great conversation and a very important topic that does not get discussed in households and among friendships. And so we bring it to this platform. So we create a safe space for honest conversations to be had. And again, Frank, we thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to reading your book. And if you didn't catch it, he can be reached at, give us your number one more time so we can purchase the book.
647-237-3642. Connect with me on WhatsApp.
Awesome. Thank you again, Frank. Thank you for joining us, and talk to you soon.